everyone, my name is Alyssa, I read, and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to share with you some romance recommendations. So I have a variety of genres here. I have some just romantic contemporary, I have some hockey romances, I have some paranormal, and I have some Harlequins, older Harlequins actually. So let's just get on with the list. So the first one I have to recommend is Moonlight Sins by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This was actually my first Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I'm so excited to read more books from her because I know she has a huge backlist. So this is the first of a trilogy. It's the De Vincent trilogy, and the De Vincent family is actually a really rich, powerful billionaire family, and they kind of have like a mafia vibes, meaning they're willing to like take care of their own when something goes awry, and they're willing to do some dirty work if it means protecting their family. Some mysterious things has happened in the family. Recently their father, who was like the patriarch of the family, died recently, and it looked like it was by suicide. So there's a lot of suspicion surrounding his death. And since then, their sister, like the Vincent brothers, their sister has come back after many years, and she's acting really odd. It almost seems like she experienced a traumatic event and she's not talking, she's mute, and she needs a lot of assistance. So this is where Julia comes into play. She is a nurse and she really needs a new beginning, and so she takes on this job, but it's a mysterious job. She doesn't really know anything about it until she shows up at the De Vincent's mansion and estate. And it's between her and Lucien, one of the brothers. He is just totally intrigued by her. He even like secretly scouts her out, and they have a bit of an encounter before she even comes to get employed by them. And so there's some mystery in this series, or at least in the first book, where there's all this mystery surrounding their father's death and the return of their sister. The house itself is very mysterious. There's a lot of like rumors and suspicions that maybe the house is haunted. And I just like the kind of mix of genres of contemporary and possibly paranormal and a mystery, and I just really loved it so much, so I definitely recommend it. The next one I recommend is Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. This is their first book they've ever written, and it's first in another series, the I think just Beautiful series, and I'm looking forward to reading more from the series. But we're following Chloe and Bennett, and they're colleagues. Bennett is actually Chloe's boss, and Chloe's actually an intern, of anything. But they've worked, I think, a few years, or they worked for a long time together, and Bennett's always been intrigued by Chloe, but he's always kept his distance until recently, and he just can't seem to stay away from her. So it's about their budding relationship. It starts off really physically at first, and it's about them kind of navigating their attraction to each other while still being colleagues. It reminded me a lot of The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, so if you like that book, you'll probably like this. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I liked the office setting, and I liked how Chloe was really close to his family, and his family really looks out for her, and I just had a good time with this one, so I definitely recommend it. The next one I recommend is This Is Crazy by Natasha Madison. Again, the beginning of a series. I guess I started a lot of romance series here, but this is a hockey romance, and I actually listened to this on audio, and I do recommend that. And we're following Zara and Evan. She is a part of the industry because her family is really involved in the NHL industry. Her father and her brother, and I think her brother-in-law, are all hockey players, and so she's really active in the hockey community. But because of that, she stays away from hockey players. She knows their reputation, and she's actually dating someone, and she was expecting him to propose to her, but instead he dumps her, and she's devastated. Months later, she finds out her previous boyfriend gets engaged with someone else, and she's just like furious. So she kind of randomly on Twitter contacts this player, Evan Richards, who is like the hot new rookie, I think, and kind of creates this publicity stunt, and she asks him to take her to her ex's wedding, and then things kind of start from there. He's really intrigued that she just like out of the blue did this. When they finally meet, they have this undeniable chemistry, and it's about their budding relationship, of course, and the struggles that comes from long distance relationships. And I just really enjoyed this one. I definitely like the hockey aspect. You get to see a lot of ice time that I really enjoyed reading about, and I just had a lot of fun. And there's other books in the series, so I definitely recommend at least the first one. The next one I actually have a physical copy, and is The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting, and I'm so excited to read more books from her because I really enjoyed this one. Again, this is a hockey romance, and we're following Lila and Ethan, and their relationship is so interesting because they grew up together and they were actually high school sweethearts, and their relationship was the type that was destined to do well. They were destined to be together, and they always assumed they'd be together. But once high school ended, he kind of left her in the dust, and Lila was devastated. She was so broken up, and she is so close to his family, and his family was kind of adopted her because she doesn't have much family of her own. And so when the breakup happened, she was devastated. Many years later, Lila actually gets married, but unfortunately divorces her husband and is on her own now. And Ethan's back in town because I think he got on the team close to his hometown. And it's about their second chance romance. And Ethan really has to grovel and convince Lila to take him back. And it's about them trying to work out their relationship. And I really liked this one a lot. Again, there's that whole hockey aspect, which I really liked. And I just liked Lila because she is a nurse as well. So you get to see her at her job, and you see the struggles they have as a couple. Even though they have this undeniable chemistry and love for each other, they really had to work out their past issues but also current issues, and I just really enjoyed this, so I definitely recommend it. The next two are actually part of a series, and that is A Touch of Darkness and A Touch of Malice by Scarlett St. Clair. These are the first two books in the Hades and Persephone series, and obviously in this one we're following Hades and Persephone, and this is like a retelling of their love story. It's in a modern setting or a modern reimagining of Athens, but with still the paranormal aspects that you expect from a Hades and Persephone retelling. So it is pretty much a retelling of these characters. They're still considered gods and demigods and things like that. So it's not like brand new characters inspired by Hades and Persephone. It's an actual retelling of these characters, and I just fell in love with their love story. They're one of my favorite like couples in romance in general, so I really enjoyed reading this adaptation. And it's just about Hades and Persephone in the beginning of their relationship, and they kind of make a deal, and Persephone has to do something in the underworld, and she gets acquainted with the underworld and how it works and what Hades' job is actually like, and we get introduced to other gods in this universe, and I just really loved it, and I really enjoyed the second book as well. So at some point I do need to get to book 3, but book 2 is just a continuation. If you like a lot of drama, if you like a lot of soap opera like romance, I definitely recommend it. The next one I have to recommend is Tonight and Forever by Brenda Jackson. This is the first book in her Medeiros family saga, and this is like her Harlequin series, at least one of her Harlequin series. This is like written, I think, in the 90s, so it's definitely a classic. And in this one we are following Lauren Jacobs and Justin Medeiros, and Lauren recently divorced. She has come from a really toxic relationship, and she decides to move back to where she grew up to kind of restart her life again. And she meets Justin at her foster mother's party or something. They meet at this party and they find out that they're neighbors. He's the new doctor in town, and it's about their budding relationship. Justin really has to try and convince Lauren to maybe give him a chance, and she's really hesitant because of her past relationship, and her past relationship does come back into the picture, and she has to get over some issues that she's struggling with because she has been recently divorced. And I just really enjoyed this nice contemporary romance that is small town and isn't super long but still has some emotion in it, so I definitely recommend if you want to give it a try. And the second recommendation is actually the sequel, which is Whispered Promises, also written by Brenda Jackson. And this one we're following Justin's brother Dex, and this is a second chance romance and also an age gap because Caitlin married Dex when she was 18. They kind of just had this whirlwind romance, and then he gets a job, I think, in Australia. He begs her to come with him, but she's really torn because her father, who just doesn't understand this relationship, doesn't understand what she's doing, she's so young, pretty much begs her to stay behind because he thinks this is like a terrible idea. And so she's really torn between her father and her new husband, and so she decides that she's gonna pick her father, which in a lot of ways I don't blame her. She's feeling really torn between the two, and so she decides to stay behind, and then they get divorced. Many years later, her father's really ill, and on his deathbed, he asks her to get Dex, and so she does. And he lets them know that they're actually still married. He never filed the papers or anything like that. And they find this a complete surprise. And of course, Caitlin was pregnant all along. She has a child, and Dex just learns this recently. And it's a second chance romance for them. He learns to be a father. They kind of just come together during this crisis, especially with her father passing and him getting to know his daughter and seeing if they can somehow make this work. And I really like this one too, so I definitely recommend it. And those are all the recommendations I have for you. I'll be making another video of more romances soon, so keep an eye out for that. If you've read any of these books before, please comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about them. If you have any adult romances to recommend, please comment down below. I'd love to hear your recommendations. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you have not done so, you can follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. And you know what? I want you to keep reading. Bye.